welcome to another video. This time I'm gonna bring a topic that has not been discussed much about, I guess, online. I've seen tutorials where basic lessons and other lessons are given out by violin teachers, but this topic I think is very less, and I think our students who are learning it online or starting new need this very much. So I'm talking about how to choose the right violin or a good violin when you start off. So the first thing that you need to check into is the build quality of the violin. So a certain few brands actually gives good quality violin. You don't have to, if the brand is good, definitely you will get a decent quality violin. So one of the brands that I've recently come across which is absolutely worth the money is a brand called Stenter, which is actually it comes around 8,500 to 8,900, that range. So MRP is around 8,900 or 9,000 rupees, I guess. So that's actually a good brand. Then there is something called Mendini, but I have not seen it in real life, but I have seen a few videos online, the reviews of it, and it sounds really nice, and it's a basic beginner quality violin. So I don't recommend you going below 6,000 and above 10, maybe 11 or 12,000, because a good decent quality violin comes around 8,000 to 10,000, that range. So that is one budget. You have to check in your budget. If you are a beginner violin student who is starting to learn violin, you need a decent quality, but not too high, right? Like if you have budget, you can go for a higher model. But if you drop off, I'm not sure how passionate you are. So if you drop off in between, that will be a lot waste of your money. But if you are really passionate, yeah, you can go for higher prices if you have the budget. But if you don't have, do not go below 6,000, but don't go above 12,000 also. So something you will get a good decent quality violin between that range, as per my experience. Second thing is the component, checking of the component. One part, this is called the peg. So what you have to check is whether it is easily windable. The string is actually attached to the peg, right? So if you can turn them easily around and it sticks, it does not come off, or if it is not staying in place, that means it's kind of loose. So that is where you have to check. Sometimes if you push it in, it'll stay in its place. That means it's okay. So the brand that I told, this is not a paid video or anything, the bad brand that I've told, they have actually real good pegs that when you can easily turn it around and it will stay in its place. So it's kind of made perfectly that it stays. That is one part, the peg. Second part is the tuners. These are called fine tuners. So most of the decent quality, good quality violins come with a metallic tuner. This is called a tailpiece, and the tailpiece having plastic screws. Fine tuners are actually of not considered to be good, but there are some with fine tuners which are plastic that are also good, exceptional cases. But if it comes metallic, that means it is okay, and then it should be easily, you can screw them tight or loose. It should be comfortable. It should not be way too tight, or it's hard to remove or hard to unwind. That scenario you should check this, should avoid. And the most important part comes to the quality of the sound produced by the violin. That depends on the body and also depends on how the sound is being channeled. So when you pluck, the way to find out how good that is to just you tighten it enough, tighten the strings. If you don't know tuning, it's okay. You can tighten the strings enough and then you just pluck the strings one by one and check for the resonance, how resonant it is and how rich and bright that sound is. Sorry, the tuning went. If it is resonating and the sound is sustained for around 3 to 4 seconds or 5 seconds, that means that good quality, the build quality of that violin is good. If it does not sound that rich or bright, it does not mean that the wood quality or the violin build quality is good. So you have to go for a better one. Mostly this happens with mediocre violins, which is way below the average pricing. Something around the price that I've told comes with decent quality resonance, I believe. So you can check for different brands, different, even for the same brand a different model might sound a little better. So since this is handmade, there are room for error, right? So some pieces, even for the same brand, if you can check 3 to 4 pieces, most of the time some pieces might sound a little bit better or bit more. The component quality will almost be the same, but the quality of the sound produced by each of it varies from model to model, right, or from piece to piece. That is another part. And most important part is when you buy a new violin, check for the strings. The strings might be aluminum wound. If it is of a medium quality, strings will be like, it will not be that shiny. You can see, you will find that it's like a matte kind of, it's not kind of glossy, right? Like the strings won't be glossy. If it is silver wound, it will be glossy, and if it is aluminum wound, it will not be that glossy. So you can find out. You can change the strings if you want to. Anyway, if you practice for some time, you might break a string or two, so you can, anyway you will have to change it. So if you want, you can buy better quality strings. So the professionals say that you have to change. As if you are a professional, it is better to change strings every 6 months. Strings can only last, the quality, the optimal sound quality of strings last from anywhere from 3 to 6 months is what they say. But since you are not a professional, I don't recommend changing it every now and then. But if you want good, better quality tone on your violin, if you try to change it once every year, it will be good. Like, go for good quality strings. The strings that come with violin are actually of mediocre quality, except if it is silver wound. And if it is of a good quality violin, the maker, the model, if it is good, then the strings will be good too. But if you are buying somewhere around the average range, the strings will be of aluminum wound and will not sound that nice, and it's of cheap quality. So it's better that you get, like, let's say 500 rupees, spend a little, 500 rupees or 600 rupees, get a set of strings, and then you can change it. Another part is, like, if you are buying a violin and if there is somebody who know how to play or how to handle the instrument, if you can get their accompaniment to buy it, always the best. Or if the store, if you ask, go to the store and ask somebody, if there is somebody in the store who plays violin, at least to some extent you can get their assistance as well. That will also help you a lot. But if not, then you should check for the points that I mentioned earlier. Okay, so that comes to the string part. If you change the strings, it's good. Second part is, the bridge height will always be a little higher than required when it comes to buying new violin. Most of the time I have seen that the height will be like 3 to 4 5 centimeters higher than it actually should be, because if the strings are way too tight, your playing will be affected. Your hands will, like, fingers will start getting hurt. So what you can do is, you can, under expert supervision, I would say, you can actually ask the store to maybe sand it down the height a little. If they do it, you can. Otherwise, you will have to remove the bridge. You can check online videos how to remove the bridge, or adjust, like changing the strings, for example. That will be a good video where you can see that you can, how to remove the bridge. You can get a sandpaper, and then you can just mark an arc on the bridge. But I don't recommend doing this if you are doing it for the first time. If you are ready to experiment with a bridge and spoil it, I don't mind. You will get a decent bridge around 200 250 rupees, or even lesser than that. Then you can experiment with that one if you want to. But the height of this will be more. If you can get somebody to reduce it for you, you go for it. But the height has to be reduced, because it will be too tight and your hands will not move that easily in the beginning days. Yeah, that's another part. When it comes to the maintenance of the violin, always make sure the violin body is clean. I've seen many people applying rosin on the bow, and then when they play, the dust from the rosin will be on the body. It will accumulate over a period of time. It is not at all recommended to keep your violin dirty. You have to always clean it. The rosin, actually, what happens is, when the temperature becomes higher, it melts and it sticks on to the body of the violin, and it tarnishes the tone of your violin body. So it is recommended to keep your violin clean and no much temperature variations around the violin. If you are not playing the violin, keep it in the box, close it, and whenever you are playing, only then keep it outside. Take it out, play, finish your practice, keep it back in the box. Do not leave your violin unattended outside, because this is all glue, right? These are all glued in. These are two different pieces and this is the third piece. These are all glued together. If there is temperature variation, the wood will expand, the glue will come off, your violin will render useless. So if you want that, always keep your violin inside the bag that is provided along with the violin. If you don't have a bag, buy one. Another part is coming to the bow. The rosin that comes with most of the violins that comes with a rosin in the box, the rosin will be a very poor quality. It will be like 50 rupees or maybe less than that. 50 rupees, if you get it for 50 rupees, the production cost will be maybe half or one third of it. So that quality of the rosin is very very low, and it is not recommended for the strings. If you are buying, let's say you spend around 1500 for a set of strings, and then if you are using 25 rupee or 30 rupee rosin on the bow, and then if you start playing it's gonna ruin the string, and the string will be easily broken after some time. You will not know. It happens over a period of time, or a longer period of time, right? So always try to get rosin that is little expensive, not more than 500. I think natural rosin, there is this natural rosin by Daddario, black rosin also. That also you don't need to scratch it or anything. You just have to apply it on the bow, and then it will get applied, and then you can easily play it on the violin. So the rosin that comes with the violin is not of good quality. You don't have to use it. If you are buying a violin new, spend a little more extra and then get a new rosin, which is either natural one or black one. Another part I wanted to mention is the tension of the bow. I have seen many who tighten the bow a lot and make it very straight, like the bow becomes pretty straight, and then when they it remains straight like this. So there is actually a natural bend to the bow, right? That has to be maintained. So what you need to do is you can actually loosen the bow if you want to. After you are done with practicing, loosen it and keep it in your bag. It is recommended to loosen and keep it. So once you start playing, you can tighten. Just have to turn this screw clockwise so that it will become tight. Tighten it enough. You don't see all the strings that are separate, like you can see them all together. That is the point where you stop tightening the bow, and you see that there is a small bend to the bow. You have to maintain that bend for playing on the violin. If the bend is gone, it will be very difficult for you to handle the bow. The bend is actually purposeful. It is not accidentally made, right? Like your bow, if you what happened to my bow, it is bent, it's not a good bow or something. Like it's not naturally straight. It is purposely bent. So the purpose of the bow is to jump, right? So it is made, they heat the wood and then bend it and then make it like this. So the bend has to be there. If you have a straightened bow, discard the bow and then get a new one. And also for the hair part, if you lose a lot of hair on the bow, and if the number of hair on the bow is less, then you can rewind it, like rehair it, or you can get a new bow if you want to. So these are the points that I wanted to mention in this video. See you in the next one. Bye bye.